Welcome to Thrive Radio. I'm your host, Amy Montgomery, entrepreneur and digital marketing agency owner. Today, my guest is Dauss Miller. He's an internationally published, award-winning commercial fashion and lifestyle photographer. He's also known as a creative branding wizard and empowers high-level entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and change makers through his dynamic, impactful photography. With a background working with big brands like Target, Adobe, Google, Dauss now focuses on helping clients elevate their brands and connect authentically with their audiences. Get ready to dive into the art of magic of creating iconic personal brands. Dauss, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Amy.
I'm excited to have you here. And I'm excited for more people to know what you do, because I don't know how many times I have gone out and saw a public speaker, somebody that is a world shaker, and their photography and their images on their website speak to that. And not many people can do that. So I'm excited to talk about everything that you do.
Yeah, great. I'm excited to share.
Yeah. So can we start a little bit with your journey and what got you to where you are today?
All right. How much time do I have for this?
Right.
I've been a professional photographer for about 26 years. I started my first business just after high school, pretty much. Started as a in the retail space. So like portraits, family portraits, kids and families, weddings, and all that sort of stuff, while I had other careers going on in the background. Lots of life, starting families. Was a victim of identity theft. So some major turbulence in my life that kind of forced the choice to go all in on myself. So I decided in 2010 to focus 100% on my photography business. At that time, I rebranded and shifted into wanting to shoot fashion. At the time, I lived in the Midwest, not a major fashion mecca by any means. So very quickly understood I needed to market for something more realistic in the area that I was in. So I dove back into weddings, grew my wedding brand pretty quickly from about 2012 to 2000. And that enabled me to start building my commercial brand, which is commercial lifestyle, advertising, fashion and apparel, and products and all the things. So grew that from about 2015 to 2019 or so. I also started in about 2015 focusing on branding and editorial portraits. I really enjoyed that, but got some great experience in the commercial world and production and organizing shoots and client experience and all of that sort of stuff. And let's see, in 2020, 2021, I started really wanting to dial into branding. I reached like a ceiling in commercial work. I love it and I'd love to continue doing it, but I really felt like it wasn't filling my cup creatively. And I just really feel like I'm on this earth to do something big, create a big ripple that reaches a lot of people. And I didn't really feel like I was doing that in a positive way as a marketing for fast fashion and things that don't really truly boost humanity. I decided upon my move to Austin, Texas, that I would put almost 100% focus on my branding and my branding offer and marketing. So now I'm supporting high-level entrepreneurs, help elevate their brand image and any visuals that are client-facing so that they can truly reach and impact their audience dynamically and authentically. Yeah, that was really quick run through. I feel like maybe it took too long, but
No, I think it's great. And yeah, it's just making me think of how many times when I was starting my business, we all start somewhere. And I'd always look at everyone else and think they have this amazing photography, or even they're usually a speaker or they're doing some sort of training, and they always have these amazing photos. And I had nothing. And if you're not a photographer, you have no clue what to do. And yeah, it's such a huge need for people out. And we put sites up, we put our brand up there, and we use the images that are out there that you can buy. They're free stock, and then that kind of help discredit to you. Let's dive into a little bit of the why the great photography is so vital for personal business and branding.
Yes. So much of business today is personal. It's a business owner has a business or offers a service or an experience or a product But I feel like from a consumer level, the more you understand like the values of the business and who's behind it, and the more like human connection you have to it, the better it feels. Like the more you want to support it and the more you can get on board. I feel like the visual aspect of branding is so uber important because number one, it's like the first thing that you come across typically. It's a visual of some sort. So the opportunity that I see is creating visuals that that meet the product or that meet the service or that really illustrate the impact or the result that comes from it. So one thing that stands out to me in my journey, I was new to the personal development space and coming across all of these incredible like speakers and change makers and like business owners doing such incredible things in the world. And then I dig a little deeper and visit like their landing pages or whatever their offers are and wherever they're showing up. And it was just like, oh, almost a letdown because it's, man, if I encountered this visual first, I probably wouldn't have known or expected them to be such a heavy hitter, such an impact maker in the world. So that's where I was like, you know what? I can take all of my skills and talent and experience and support incredible people doing incredible things for the world in reaching more of their audience, because when someone sees an image that you can feel in marketing or in a funnel or landing page, you feel the authenticity, you feel the heart, you feel the soul behind the movement this business owner is creating. Like that's the magnetism that is needed. I think you can totally get by with I call I kind of distinguish work between like vanilla and tasting the rainbow. You can get by with vanilla, but if you're doing something incredible and dynamic in the world, you should be tasting the rainbow like in everything that you put out.
Yeah.
So it's so important because it really truly helps echo the impact that you make in the world.
Yeah.
Whereas something standard or non-professional or low-grade professional just won't, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And I absolutely agree. When you're marketing things that don't already naturally have some sort of emotional aspect to it, like finances, for example,
Yeah,
like nobody cares about finances. Everyone avoids it. They avoid all of these things until like it causes so much pain that they have to. So when somebody hires me to say run an ad, like right now I'm running an ad for a client that does financials, I can't focus on his services. I have to be like, go on your dream vacation, spend more time with
yeah,
your family, and
yeah,
all these emotional things, and talk about the things that they really want, the transformations, right?
exactly.
So
Yeah,
it's getting that across. And if whether I think that if you're a public speaker or if you're somebody that is in something, an industry that is not, that exciting, you've got to make it exciting by having that personal brand and showing up.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And I get so excited about that because each business is completely unique because the people behind it are completely unique. So there's so much to tap into and illustrate, with understanding that it's not just about the service you offer. It's the transformation or the experience you offer or the what comes available to your client or customer after they go through your program or after they have your product. It's like, how do you showcase the result? So that's what I get really excited about. It's like, how can we showcase like what they're going to be walking away with or what the transformation is? How do we show that? So it gives me an opportunity to get really creative on lots of different levels.
Yeah. So how do you go about that with photography in communicating the brand's message, their values, and all of this so that it resonates?
Yeah, it's just a deep creative process and it's a collaborative process. For me, typically it starts with a deep meeting where I ask a series of questions and I don't really have a blueprint copy paste process necessarily. It's just a conversation where I ask a lot of like strategic questions to get all those questions answered. So I understand the value pillars. I understand the direction. Something else that's also really important to me is like the future vision of the business or the business owner, and what stage they're at in this journey, and what is possible that may not be in the vision plan just yet. So yeah, having a call and extracting as much information and detail as possible, so then I can zoom out and start to let the puzzle pieces drop into place to create visual stories, or to really help bring clarity to what the business is, or so that the heart of the business is felt through emotional visuals, or whatever it happens to be. Just unpacking all of that so that I can clearly get creative with what's there.
Yeah, I love that. I do a little bit of branding as far as the colors, the fonts, and all of that, because when it comes to social media, a lot of people don't realize that you don't want to go out there and just copy what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Have your, you want, when people see your content, they should actually feel and know what your brand is about. And so I think that it's, and a lot of people don't realize that. They think, oh, my branding is just my logo and my colors, but they don't
Yeah.
understand that it's there because it produces an emotion. And so if you take your mission and your vision and all of these things, your font produces an emotion. Your whatever creative element you've got there produces an emotion. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty powerful. Do you have a story that you can share with us where you were able to help transform a client's brand?
Yes, several. It's really my goal with every client, whether they're a six figure brand or a 10-figure brand. Like, my goal is to create a transformation, and that sometimes comes from, like I said before, like vision casting far enough to create possibility that wasn't in the forecast before, and that can be done with anyone. It's really fun to go through the process, creative process, and then show the client something that they had no idea was even in the orbit, and then that new vision creates an explosion of new creative ideas for them. One in particular turned a good friend of mine, Julie Santiago. She supports high level women in dealing with burnout, and um, she's just a dynamic human being, incredible person. But I feel like before there was just a lack of clarity, and there was a lack of um, personalization and clear illustration of like luxury and the level that she was, and the level that she served her clients at. Because I feel like, my personal opinion, I felt like it was just everything else. I'll have to dig and discover what makes this special or unique.
Yeah.
So working with her and really understanding the direction of her business and the things that she was wanting to do and the direction she's headed, I was able to create a series of visual stories that really helped bring clarity to all of those things. It, like, her website went from feeling kind of vanilla. I don't want to say that too much, but I feel like it's a good way to describe a lot of what's out there. It's just like people see something and they're like, okay, that's what I need to do to have what I want. But it's not unique. It's not special, because it doesn't speak the personality and the presence of that unique entity, whatever it is. So it felt very generic before. So after going through the process and really learning and discovering who she was as a person and why she's doing what she's doing, and understanding her journey and seeing the impact that she was making on women across the globe already, and then hearing the story of what she was planning and wanting to do in the future, I was able to create, working with her, visuals that illustrated all of that, and visual stories and dynamic portraits. So her website went from feeling vanilla to like 100% unique and incredibly stimulating visually. And it's like, you come across something, if it's your client, you hope that they come across it and are immediately like filled with question marks, or filled with answers, or filled with emotions, so that they want to read more, or that they want to click that button, or they want to do that next thing. So that's what happened. And her experience was such that she left me a voice note on my phone just describing the experience that she had with me. And it turned out to be, it helped me clarify my branding and my copy and voice because she really spoke to what transformation actually occurred. And one thing that she said was, it's not just another photo shoot. This was not a photo shoot alone. Of course, we got great images, but this was like an intentional, curated experience that showed me the next version of myself. And I don't believe I would have been able to do that without this experience. So it was just like, rain the compliments upon me kind of moment. It was really special, but it really showed me how much impact that it could have on the individual business owner and the trajectory of the business itself. So,
You tapped on something that I heard the other day that's pretty powerful. Actually, I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk. It was one of his videos. And there was a
mm,
young man that was saying, I've started a YouTube, but I'm having a hard time picking a niche. And Gary said, you are the niche,
yeah,
right? And I feel like a lot of people struggle with this. And I'll say this a lot too. I'll say niche your products, don't niche your entire brand or yourself, right? And when you are your niche, like you're taking their personalities, their journey, who they are as a person, integrating that into the brand. And I think that a lot of times when we're putting ourselves out there, even on social media, say I'm a marketer, so the temptation is for me just to go out there and do marketing tips all day. That's great, but that's not what people love. It's helpful, but it's not necessarily what they're going to follow me for. They're not necessarily going to do business with me for. It's more who I am. And so showing all those different personalities and what you love and what you do and all the different aspects of you in with your brand is a really powerful thing. And being able to capture that in images on your website takes it to a whole nother level, because it's not like you have to create all of this content to communicate the message. It's a photo shoot that communicates it.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
love
For
that.
sure.
Let's talk a little bit about how you tailor the different styles, because there's somebody out there that might see some of your shoots that are more glamorous and they're like, oh gosh, that's not me. Or how do you work with individuals to get their real unique needs and style for their brand?
Yeah, it's each experience is as unique as the person itself. There are some clients that I have that do want to explore and really push into their edges, whether it be with wardrobe or fashion or locations or what the story is. We really push, but those stories are unique because of who they are. So if a client, and this is something that I also want to say about what I do. Some people come across my work and they're like, "Ooh, they're immediately like, ooh, that's beautiful work or whatever," but that's not me, or I can't see myself done up like that, or that's so hyper produced or whatever. But it is a unique and curated experience for everyone individually. That's what makes it not just another photo shoot with another random photographer. I take the time and have the process in place to truly extract the individual unique qualities of the business and business owner. And through my creative concepts, they help illustrate all of those different unique characteristics, which only helps create a niche and for your people, your tribe, your client base to be magnetized to it, because it's going to attract those people that have similar stories or similar journeys or similar value pillars or anything that you can connect with in interpersonal relationships. It's the same with business, I feel like. So yeah, that's the secret sauce behind it. It's just really taking the time and providing a safe container for my clients to feel safe, to be vulnerable, to share as deeply as they want to share. And I encourage that in my process. And I've had several clients say, this is like a coaching session. I wasn't expecting to be coached. When I've helped people find clarity and direction in making choices in their journeys in business. And it's really exciting. So it's to answer the question, in a capsule, it's just a tailored, curated experience that's 100% unique to everyone, every individual. So it's different every time.
I love that. So one of the things that we overcome in marketing is that know and trust. Like that's the number one thing that everyone has to build in their business is the know and trust factor. So how does the impactful photography contribute to building that trust?
Yeah, great question. Trust is a currency in business. Authenticity is a currency in business. Safety and knowing what to expect is a currency in business. So having visual assets that are authentic and that create clarity in like encompassing what the business is and what it stands for, it creates ease and it creates safety for a client and with just solid branding in general. So if you have a cohesive brand story basically across all platforms and places where you're showing up in your emails and all the places you're showing up, it's like your client stepping into the door and they're like, ah, this feels like home because it's all the same colors that I'm used to and all of the same feelings that I'm used to. And it's creates this comfortable atmosphere basically, because that's really what you want to create. You want to create like this doorway that your client can step into and they know what to expect.
Yeah.
They know what they're dealing with. They know what it is and they know what they're there for. So I went on a tangent and don't remember your exact question right now.
Building the trust. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's really how it's done, like, tapping into the heart of the business owner or into the soul of the business and just showering everything with that. It creates safety and trust from the client perspective, and that's really what it's all about. And also, I think the more vulnerable a business can be, typically the better, depending on what it is and who they're speaking to, but if a client feels like they're not hiding anything from me. Like I know that this is a real set of people or souls behind things. I feel like that also establishes some ground foundational trust in a client business relationship.
Yeah, I love that. So what do you think has been your truth that has gotten you this far in your journey?
Man, my journey, man, I'm a pretty resilient person and I feel like what drives me the most as a photographer is the emotions behind it. So like every genre of photography I've worked in or through in all of my client relationships, like my body remembers feeling, I just want to make this person feel XYZ, or I want this person to feel XYZ about their experience working with me. And that's been the thread that's been woven throughout. So once I made the conscious choice to say, I no longer want to clock in for anyone else. And then with my own business, I no longer want to support business that doesn't align with my own personal values. I want to connect with businesses and business owners that have an objective to like uplifting humanity in some sort of way, whether that's through a product or a service or an experience or whatever it happens to be. Once I made that choice, it was like I could feel my cup filling already. Just making that choice, like I'm going to contribute to making a positive ripple in this world. And that's, like I said before, that's what I'm here for. So yeah.
Love that. So one more question. If you were able to give yourself one piece of advice when you first started out on your journey, what would it be?
Give myself one piece of advice. I would say don't be afraid to be whatever is present like for myself. I feel like most of my life has been unintentionally, but um, masked or slightly hidden. Like I've always been shy and a little bit reserved, and there's all kinds of things that play into this idea that if they know me, they're not gonna like me, or if they know me too much, they're not gonna want to book me as a photographer, or don't show your face on your website because I don't. They what if they know that XYZ, then they won't be my client. Thinking.
Yeah.
Um, so my advice would be don't don't shield or hide who you are and what your intentions are and what you're about and what you think and feel and what you want to say what you want to wear it. Be all of you that you can be, loud and proud, because that's the magic of human interaction, right? I want to find the people that are like me by seeing, feeling, and hearing everyone else being all of themselves that they can be, right? Because that's what it's about, like being fully expressed and feeling full and complete by that.
Yeah.
So that's, I wish I had myself to scream that at myself even 5 years ago. Like that would have been really helpful. So it hasn't been until recently that I've felt enough certainty and confidence to be like, you know what? I don't have anything to hide. This is who I am, and I want everyone to know that and feel that. So let me do all the things that I can to have that, you know, facing outward.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting is what makes us different and weird and unique is what everyone loves us for and what
Yeah.
to us for. And there's going to be people that will be turned off by whatever. My thing is I go viral all the time because I'm 52 and I don't look it. Right? And people flip out. And then when people meet me in person, they're like, where's the filter?
That's
So
awesome.
I end up just when I'm meeting with people for the first time, business owners, I'll just say, okay, let's address the elephant in the room. Because usually I'll be meeting with some big client and they expect a lot and they've come to me because they saw my credentials on paper. So they understand that I have a lot of credentials, but then they meet me and I look like a child. So I'll be like, let's address the elephant in the room. I'm not a child. And it's just addressing those things. And if you can even make fun of yourself, I think on all of the things and point them out and you own them, they become something that people aren't going to use against you because you're already using it, right?
Yeah. And they respect you for it. It creates trust actually.
Yeah, yeah. So the more open you can be and the stranger you can be, then people are just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they know what to expect. They know
Yeah,
what you're all about.
yeah,
Yep.
definitely. I love that. So if there are people that are listening that would love to work with you, what's the best way to contact you?
My website or Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, anywhere, any social channels that people are hanging out. I make it easy. It's just my name. So anything that has it's at Dauss Miller or dawsmiller.com.
Perfect. And I'll put your links down below. Thank you, Josh, so much for coming on today and sharing your expertise.
Thank you, Amy. It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah, definitely. And if you want more information about this podcast, get DOS links, you can visit acalltothrive.com. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful week.